A long time ago, I started working on a new project, a side project. I decided I wanted to make a fan game for my favorite D&D show, Critical Role. If you're a game developer, you know how dangerous these side projects can be. I think most developers have a virtual closet full of unfinished projects and half-baked ideas. And like with any new idea, I got super excited and dove into it head first, abandoning all my other work. I was painting my butt off, I was writing down all these ideas, I built a prototype scene super quick. Hell, I even made a video about it. But somehow, at some point, the enthusiasm faded away and the project began gathering dust unfinished on my hard drive. Now this can happen for many reasons. Maybe we discover that we actually needed a lot more art than we thought. Maybe the code all of a sudden got really complicated in order to do what you wanted and you hit a block. And for me, I was still struggling on how I was going to make a game that had at least 7 playable characters, all hand-painted just by myself. I'm sure this happens to a lot of people. Even with our main games, we get so excited that we underestimate the scope that we set for ourselves, and sooner or later we look up from our computers and realize, holy cheese, I have so much ahead of me. And with that realization, the passion almost instantly vaporizes. And I've been dealing with these feelings of on-again, off-again passion over the past year or so, and I think I've come to a conclusion for me on how to manage this. So the answer for me was, when the passion goes, I have to drastically alter the scope of my game. This can be really difficult for a lot of people because when you work on a project, you become very committed to it, it becomes your baby, and you become so attached to all of your ideas. But you have to realize that if you want to keep progressing with the project, you're going to have to shrink it down a little bit. Maybe make it more digestible for you. The old phrase, don't bite off more than you can chew, comes to mind. And for me, this is how I did it. The idea of mini games really helped me. If I can make a mini game, this means I can really flesh out a single idea completely and finish it. This way it doesn't drag on for as long as this huge painful project, but instead can be like a little burst of inspiration that you just get out of your system and feel accomplished at the end. So I decided to turn every game of mine into a mini game. Now keep in mind, guys, this is a reversible thing. Scoping your project down to a mini game does not mean it has to stay as a mini game. Your scope, your ideas, your dreams, all of your work, it's not going anywhere. What this allows you to do is create a sturdy and fundamental base game to build off of. It is so much easier to extend a completed game bit by bit than it is to just keep building and building and building and not know when or where it will end. With a completed game, every time you add something new, it's pretty much still completed. It's like you'll always have a working prototype. And there are so many benefits to this approach too. Yes, it keeps your passion fresh, your progress seems more substantial, and the end is actually in sight, and that is motivating. From an internal and mental perspective, it just helps you with your consistency. But then also on the outside, you'll see how quickly it is for you to actually get your game in front of people. We know feedback is so essential. We know marketing is so essential. The more you can push out completed work, the more you can actually interact and engage with the people who are going to be playing what you're making, and people can interact back with what you're making. Screenshots and GIFs and videos and devlogs, they can all get you pretty far, but having an actual game that people can play, even if it's crap, it fosters so much more of a connection with the people who you will ultimately want to sell future games to. It builds up a back and forth. Don't be afraid of spoiling it. Don't be afraid of someone stealing your ideas. This can happen even with a completed game. This stuff doesn't matter. Just get your work in front of your audience ASAP. Use everything at your disposal. Fail more. Ship more crap. This is how you learn. And then you add your juicy ideas on top of your foundation, and bit by bit by bit, you will be making something so incredible. This has helped me so much in my game dev process. I turn my main game into a bunch of sequential mini games where every level is a new game. It keeps it really small and short and sweet and not overwhelming for me. And now I've turned my side project into a mini game too. I cut out characters and kept just one. I used a scene from the show as my inspiration and just made a small game to demonstrate that funny little scene. Now look, I have a finished game. And my head is bursting with ideas for more fan games for this series. I mean, there's at least 7 characters, so maybe I can make a mini game for each character instead of trying to make a big frickin' RPG game where you play as a team or something. I didn't even know what I was gonna do. I don't know, man. This works for me now. Like, I know a lot of people are really attached to the idea of making a big, awesome, long, cool-ass game with a story and all these mechanics and blah, blah, blah. But for me, I just want a consistent and ever-improving production of games. Like, why not just make a bunch of little ones for now? Especially while I'm still learning. Think of it like YouTube. You sit down and watch your favorite YouTuber's weekly video for like 12 minutes and you get a little bit of entertainment and education from it. Why not sit down and play your favorite game developer's new game once a month or whenever they release it and get your hour or so's worth of entertainment there? It's no secret that we all have attention spans that are short as heck these days, not to mention that the entire game industry is booming and competition to get your game seen is getting kind of outrageous. Maybe when we're just getting started, it is actually about quantity over quality that matters. I mean, there's a term often used in business building, fail fast and fail often. Get your inevitable failures out of the way quickly so you can learn what works and double down on that. With all that being said, I cannot speak for the monetization aspect of this approach. It is new to me. As I said, I'm still learning. I don't make any money right now. I get like $13 a month on Patreon and I've had maybe like $20 worth of donations on Coffee, and that's cool. I'm still figuring it out. But I do know that building an audience is a very important step to building a business, and that requires consistency and authenticity and often a lot of experimentation. And I'm definitely in the experimentation part. Okay, so ramble over. I'm done this minigame. Initially, I was just gonna make this a regular devlog about it, but I felt like this conversation is more important considering most of the people who watch my videos are fellow game developers who might be struggling with the same thing. And you don't have to turn your big project into a minigame, but maybe if you have a side project that's gathering dust, you could just play with the scope in your head a little bit, see how you could shrink it down and finish it, almost like a game jam game or something like that. Anyway, go and give my game a try. Let me know how it sucks. P.S. I know it sucks to kill seagulls and crabs in a game. This was just part of the story. The character went to the beach and she decided she wanted to kill a bunch of seagulls. She's a goblin. What can you do? It wasn't my decision to make it seagulls, and I apologize for any of the guilt you may feel in playing this game. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching. Go follow me on Instagram. I post on my story every day and I'm really funny and cool. Okay, bye!